Hey everyone, welcome to my first video on Nathan's Tech. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to Hackintosh on your Windows PC or a pre-built PC from Asus. Now this is my video on Hackintoshing. It might be a bit different to other people's, but this is the way I got it working, and I'm currently editing this video on my Hackintosh, so yeah, take it how you want. This might not work for some people, since Hackintoshing is basically for a certain kind of people who just want to test Mac before they buy like a full-on MacBook or something like that, or just people who like Mac for Cinema 4D and Premiere Pro, Final Cut, because they're more optimized than some of the editing programs on Windows. Now my specs personally is I have a pre-built Asus K31 ADE with an NVIDIA GT 17 with 1GB of DDR3 RAM and 8GB of 1600MHz Samsung DDR3 RAM on the motherboard, and Intel i3-4170, and yeah, just some of the stuff I use on this computer. I have 2 hard drives. As you can see in the video, I am going to be installing Hackintosh on my second hard drive, which is 500GB. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like down below, also be sure to subscribe. Now the requirements you're going to need for this is 2 USB sticks. I don't think I exactly pointed it out in the video, since I recorded a bit before this video, but the footage didn't exactly make it off the camera in the best quality, and my mic quality on the desktop wasn't good because I had noise suppression turned on, and the camera quality wasn't so good because it's a camera designed for underwater. It's basically a GoPro. But I have 2 USB sticks, one of them being 32GB and one of them being 16. I recommend both of them being 16GB or higher, just because of the size of the files we're going to be using in this video. The software I used was Boot Disk Utility on Windows, and I had a Mac virtual machine which I used MacPwn El Capitan to make my install USB. Now I'm pretty sure this is what people on the forums call a vanilla install of Mac OS X El Capitan. I don't know what it's called. A lot of people say distros aren't the best, but this is the way I got it working. I haven't had a single distro work for me. So yeah, let's get into Windows and start the tutorial. So we're in Windows, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to plug in the USB you want to use for the Clover bootloader, which you will use to boot up the Mac OS X installer, and at some point boot to Mac from it. So I've plugged in the USB here, and mine I think needs pre-formatting because Mac OS X likes to take advantage of my USBs. Yep. So you can see disk, it's meant as disk 3 for me. So first thing you want to do is just open up Boot Disk Utility. It's going to ask you for admin permissions. You just want to click your USB device. So mine's USB disk 2.0 and it's 16 gigs in size. Windows just reads it as 14. So you just click Format Disk and then click OK. You'll see it will start formatting the disk and putting Clover on it. So I'll be back when this is done. So it's done, and as you can see, if you click the plus button, you'll see a volume called Clover. So you can now safely eject the disk and disconnect it. I just disconnect mine. I don't see the point in ejecting. So now you want to open up Vmware Workstation and load the Yosemite install you have. Now I'll try and leave a link to the image down in the description, and MacPwn, and you'll just get the El Capitan install from the Apple App Store, since that does work on this virtual machine. So I'm just going to click play virtual machine, and I've already got VMware tools and stuff installed on this, so I should be perfectly fine. So I'm just going to wait for this all to boot up, and I'll be back to you guys. So we're in Yosemite in the virtual machine, and as you can see, if I go into Launchpad, I have install OS X El Capitan, and I have Yosemite there for another day, for a rainy day, just in case El Capitan doesn't work for me. So what you want to do is connect the USB you want to use to put Mac OS X on. Now you probably want to use a 16 gig or above USB for both of these, so the Clover bootloader and El Capitan. So as you can see, my USB has mounted up here. So to do that, you just go to Player, remove all devices, and select your USB here, and click Connect. So El Capitan installs popped up there, and it's my USB with OS X El Capitan. So you just want to open up so to put El Capitan on your USB as an installer, just download Macpone El Capitan once you've downloaded El Capitan from the Apple App Store. Then click the little accept that pops up when you first open this, and then click continue. Click continue again. Click agree. Change install location. Now this is where many people get stuck. Make sure your USB is formatted with Mac OS X extended journal, and then your USB will show up in here. You just click it and then click continue, and then click install, and it'll ask for your password. So I'm not going to do this, so I'm just going to click cancel. So my USB is already made, so we can get into the next part of this video, which is installing Mac OS X. So I'll be back in a second, guys. So guys, the PC is finally turned off, and I have my Clover USB and my Mac OS X install USB, which I just dropped by accident. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the Clover USB, and then I'm going to plug in the Mac USB as well. Make sure they're both in there together. Now, if you have an Asus motherboard in its UEFI, it should be delete or F2 to enter the UEFI BIOS. Now, once we're in here, what you can do if yours is Asus, use exit/advanced mode and go to advanced mode, and click exit up here and click load optimized defaults. A lot of people don't recommend this, but it seems to work for me. So once you've done that, go to advanced and then USB configuration. Just turn on legacy USB support and make sure that's on, and go to boot and set your USB support to full initialization. Turn secure boot onto other OS. Then you should click exit, save changes, and then click yes, and then press the same button while your PC boots back up again. Now there's one more thing you want to enable again once you've loaded optimized defaults, which turns this off for some reason. Just go back to advanced mode, go to advanced, and then you go to CPU configuration and turn on Intel virtualization technology, and then just reboot again. Now once you're back in the BIOS, go to boot menu and select your Clover USB, so mine's USB disk 2.0, and just click enter. I'm not booting it in UEFI, so it should say scanning entries right now after a little while. So it's scanning its entries, and you will see your USB here. Now if you have an NVIDIA graphics card like me, or get the DSMOS error and then your PC restarts, just type in your little boot arguments here, NV_disable equals 1. Now I'll show you guys how to fix that after with the NVIDIA WebDriver, but for now just make sure you have that on, and then just boot off your USB and you will see the Apple logo. Now I'll be back with you guys when we're actually in the installer. So I have booted up to the Mac OS X installer screen. Now if you can't quite get here, or you halt on boot or something, just do -V in the boot arguments and find where you're getting stuck, and just go to the Hackintosh.zone forums and create a post there. Those guys over there are really helpful, hence why I've actually been able to get this to boot myself with the NV_disable stuff. So I'm just going to use English for the main language and click next. Now once you're here, you can't quite click continue yet. You just want to go to Utilities Hub here and go to Disk Utility. Find your hard drive, and then click erase, give it a name, and then erase. Now it's done, so I'm just going to click close here and then click continue. Totally want to read through all of this and then click continue and then agree because you totally read it. Then click your hard drive you want to install to and then click continue again. Now mine's going to take 17 minutes, so I'll be back when that's done. And we're finally in the final reboot stages and we're ready to carry on with the install and get all the drivers and things set up, which I'm probably not going to show in this episode since my version of Mac OS X has its own issues. So yeah, I'll be back in a second, guys. So El Capitan has installed, so it's telling me to restart, so I'm just going to click restart down here. And it will appear that it's crashed or whatever, but just give it a second, it will restart your PC, since it just doesn't show the shutdown screen, it just freezes. So there you go. Now what you want to do is just press delete or F2 again to get back into your BIOS. And select the USB again. So, right, F8. So select the USB again. It'll print out its 6 and then go onto its little line, and then it'll scan the entries and take you into Clover again. So now just go back to options, type in the same boot arguments you were using before to get this to work. And you will notice there is a new option, and it's boot Mac OS X from one of your hard drives, so you just click enter on that. And Mac OS X should start booting into the new welcome screen. So yeah, I'll be back when this is fully booted and we get into setup. So we're at the final stage of setup, so I'm just going to select United Kingdom, British keyboard layout, and just set it up the way it is. So just continue again, then transfer information, enable location services. Let's not do that actually. Don't use, agree to the terms of service, and then do all of your account information stuff. And it's setting up your Mac as it would any other Mac that you bought directly from Apple. So after a little while here, the little loading bar will disappear and you will be at the desktop of your new Hackintosh with the keyboard self-assistant asking you to press a certain key next to your keyboard and then clicking done. So here's all the stuff I used, which were 2 Clover discs and an El Capitan installer, which is what I created with MacPwn. So everything's working normally except from the NVIDIA WebDriver, which I haven't installed yet, Wi-Fi, which I can't get Kex for, I have to buy a new Wi-Fi card, and motherboard audio, which I believe is some issue with Clover, so we'll get that fixed at some point. Now what I recommend you guys to do now is figure out everything from here yourselves, like googling for Kexts for your certain hardware using Kext Wizard and MultiBeast. I won't be making a part 2 and showing you guys all the stuff I used to get mine up and running, but so far everything seems to be working fine. I can go into stuff like the App Store and System Preferences to enable the magnification on the dock. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like down below. If there's something I missed, let me know in the comments. If you didn't like this video, however, go dislike it if you want, but likes are appreciated. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below and be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.